Boxing Day to those of you in Canada. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the PHNX Coyotes Podcast. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review. I'm Leah here with Craig and the Grinch. I mean Petey and Danielle.
You're not wrong.
Yes, Craig, are you raising your hand?
Can you tell us what Boxing Day is, Leah?
It's a day like Black Friday, except it's the day after Christmas.
Okay.
What is it actually? I don't know, but that's just...
Isn't it to do with the Boxer Rebellion? Isn't there...
I don't know.
I can't remember.
I don't know.
Somebody's going to tell us in the
I just
chat.
know that my cousins would always line up to buy TVs at 4 a.m. It was like Canada's Black Friday. I don't know. Let's
it has
see.
to mean more than that.
It originated. Okay, that doesn't help me at all.
No,
if anyone knows what Boxing Day is and can
throw it in the chat.
quickly tell me.
KWP is here. He's kind of our head researcher.
That's true. But you know, yesterday was Christmas. How was everybody's Christmas?
It was good. Had Christmas Day was just the family of 4. We had a very chill day, got up late, had a good breakfast together, went and saw a movie, had dinner together. But the Friday, was it Friday and Saturday? I can't even remember the days anymore. Friday and Sunday, we hosted parties. That was...
I didn't do either of those
It was
things.
something.
I wanted to take the decorations.
You did text me about my mac and cheese recipe.
I did, because ours sucked. Sorry, Heidi. It sucked. And you know what? Heidi blames the oven. You know whose fault it isn't? The oven. Like, then cook it less. Like, if it's overcooked, cook it less or less heat. Like, it worked because it overcooked. So the oven clearly works. And then I wanted to take the decorations down last night.
Oh, we're going to... Can you put a pin in that?
Oh, boy.
Yeah. We're going to talk about that.
Okay.
I'm glad you previewed it, though.
It was fine. How about that?
Okay.
Christmas was fine.
It was fine.
It was fine.
It was fine.
It was fine. I didn't go to any parties because even if I was invited, I wouldn't go because I wouldn't go coffee with you guys because why?
Yep. We offered to walk over and get coffee with Petey. I offered to buy too.
Yep.
And Petey said no.
I
He
said
didn't
no.
want to walk with us. So Leah and I walked and got coffee alone.
Yeah, I had a lovely walk
Yep.
down the street.
To be fair, Danielle turned us down too. So.
But that's because Danielle was like shaking over caffeine consumption.
Totri sent it over to me during the Sun Devil show, and I was like, I don't know what to do because I had so much coffee. Yeah, so I am very coffeeed out for the day, but I appreciate the offer.
fair.
Boy.
Petey is, I don't know. Are you drinking gas station coffee?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got
Circle K, I mean.
Circle K, it's fine.
Okay, well.
Okay.
Good Lord. We have an answer from SC on Boxing Day. It was a day in England when household servants were given gifts by the family they served. And of course, it turned into a consumer holiday in North America.
Were they gifts in boxes?
Probably. They're probably like the re-gifts and the redos because they were the servants.
And
upstairs,
back
downstairs.
in that day, a re-gift was a really bad thing.
Yeah,
like,
upstairs, downstairs.
Here's the
they didn't
here's
have
the
TV
meat
either.
we found in our cellar that's been there
Exactly.
since last year. It's
Oh, boy.
yours.
John sent us a $5 super chat and said, I did not find a new arena under my tree. I want a redo. Same, John.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat as you. Didn't get that.
It's almost the first of the year, though, aren't we? Oh, never mind. Thought we were supposed to hear something.
I don't want to talk about that today. I had a lovely Christmas. Thanks for asking. We want to give a shout out to, I see you're here in the chat, Christina, Joel, and Delilah for our Christmas gifts. Thank you so much.
Oh, Delilah, I got that. But
yeah, sorry we hadn't been in the office today.
we hadn't been in the office, so unfortunately the decoration that Delilah made will not go on this year's tree.
Mine made it
Well,
on
it's
my
going
tree.
on mine. It's going on mine when I get home today.
Mine made it
But
on my
mine
tree.
won't.
I know.
Are you taking
because
your stuff down today?
We'll talk. We're going to get to this.
Yeah, we're going to
When?
We're going to get... It's on the
It's
show
on the
run.
thing.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's on the run.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks. Did you see Joel and Delilah and they all had matching jammies on
Yes,
too?
I did. This show has already been chaotic off the top.
We do have some topics, don't we?
Yeah, let's get into topics.
Well, we should say thank you to everybody, right, for the gifts. Again,
Oh,
a heartfelt
Cheryl.
thank you. Yeah,
Yeah, Cheryl for the. I just ate one of the chocolate bars from that basket. Actually, on our walk to get coffee.
There you go.
Yes, thank you. And also, Discord was amazing yesterday. Great vibes. Everyone. Apparently, there's a lot of musicians in the Discord. So
Yeah, there are. Starting a band, I heard.
And by the way, just to remind people that if you do buy us food, you're automatically in the Platinum Club. So if I've forgotten, to give you your membership
Sounds
card,
like a
just
bribe.
remind me what it was that you bought. More likely me than them.
Definitely sounds like a bribe.
But if I was included in the food gift, then just remind me and I'll put you in the Platinum Club.
Oh my.
Sounds like a bribe.
All right. Let's get on the rails here. One thing about Boxing Day, whatever that is, it's the start of the World Juniors. And because it's in Sweden, it starts when you guys wake up, 6 a.m. Actually, you're probably already awake.
Yeah, I saw the beginning of the first game. Not the beginning of the first game. I turned on the TV this morning, and the first game was on, the Czechia game.
Wow. So obviously
It's
we
true.
talked about last week the Coyotes prospects
Michael Hobble.
participating. There's a lot of them. There's 7. And, I checked in on all the scores. Some Coyotes prospects had an impact today. Some lost and some just stayed quiet on the score sheet. But you mentioned Michael Hrabal. Czechia lost 6-2 to Slovakia with Michael Hrabal in net. He allowed 6 goals on 34 shots. I did not watch the game, so I can't give a proper analysis on whether or not he should have had more saves or if it was the team. But not a great first outing for Michael Hrabal for Czechia.
We did talk about on our show Slovakia being an underdog, a team to watch in this tournament. They have a lot of talent. They can make some noise. They made some noise on day one. I don't know that Czechia had great expectations coming into this tournament, but they certainly have expectations of beating their neighbor and
That's a big tilt
former
for them.
countrymen.
That's Canada, U.S. That's a border war. That's great.
It is, yeah.
I thought Rabel early. I thought he looked good. I thought he moved well, and he's big. And you go, oh my gosh, this guy could be the future. Like I really liked him, and then by the end of the game, I didn't like him as much.
Okay.
But he's so young still.
He's young,
Yeah.
but the good news for as a guy that watching him is his movement in the crease. Man, he moves extremely well for a big guy.
So what were the issues on the goals? You're like,
yeah, I think it's a situation. I do agree with what Leah said. I don't think the team played particularly well around him, but I don't know if he tracked the puck extremely well today.
Okay.
And keep in mind, these teams haven't played together a lot. They don't know their teammates very well, and it's a difficult stage to play in for the very first day. I think he will continue to get better as this tournament goes on. I really believe that. This is a hard tournament to play right out of the chute to have a really good day.
yeah, and right after Christmas too.
Yeah.
It is. It's tough.
So I'm going to give him a mulligan today.
I know it's tradition and all. I don't like this time of year for this tournament.
No.
I really don't. I don't.
I do, but that's because it's like that. Again, as a Canadian, like I used to spend all my Christmases in Canada, and it was the day after Christmas. Everybody on the 26th, I was like, okay, it's time
But a
to
lot of
turn
time
on the
that
World
was-
Juniors, and it was the
wasn't-
best.
Who did they have today, Canada? I already forgot. Who did they play?
They played Finland.
Finland. Yeah, I mean, it's an okay game, I guess.
Mhm.
I mean, in the preliminary round, I look forward to Canada USA. That's always you want to see them in the preliminary round. And honestly, that's how little I know. Do they even play each other in the preliminary round?
No,
Or
they're
they
not in the same group. So
Yeah, so pools we're going to play in the. It's going to be interesting. That's the game I'm waiting for already. Is Canada US. Boy,
Ugh.
USA.
Are you uncomfortable about all this hype?
This USA hype, everybody on Twitter, on Insta, everywhere.
They're the favorites
They're
on
the favorites.
BetMGM.
They're the favorite. And did you watch that first period today? You go, okay, this is a team that's playing like they're the top seed. They were too floofy, too fancy, passing it around. You know what they look like? They look like Keller and Schmaltz, 5-on-5, zipping it around and a little too fancy. Get the puck to the net. Nobody drove the net. Nobody got there. Once they finally got their feet under them, I think they played good enough to win. But you can't play good enough to win in this tournament. You need to dominate. And I don't know if they did that yet. We'll see. I'm a little concerned.
Well, I always cheer for Team Canada, and the Coyotes have 2 prospects, 2 notable.
That was fun.
Notable
Root for them.
prospects on Team Canada, Maverick Lamoureux and Connor Geekie, who both made an impact today, especially Maverick Lamoureux. That first goal for Canada, his shot ended up being like the rebound. I don't know. It kind of went off Danielson's body. Either way, Maverick Lamoureux drove that play, had an assist, and then he also scored an empty net goal to secure the win for Canada. Connor Geekie had an assist. And these are just in this game today because Connor Geekie has already scored in some of the preliminary rounds of this tournament as well. So good to see the Coyotes' first round draft picks of 2022 having an impact.
Maverick Lamoureux logged the most minutes of any Canadian defenseman today. So that's a good sign. They're leaning on him. Also, you remember what happened at the draft when he was selected? You remember his parents?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
Tara suggested to me last night that his nickname in the
no.
dressing room should be Frenchie.
Oh my God.
I was like, okay.
There's a lot of meaning.
There's
to
a
that.
lot there,
There's
right?
a lot there.
Yeah.
There is
Okay.
a lot going on.
Anyway, I'm not going to touch
I like
it.
Mavlam.
Yeah,
I tell you what,
I'm a little more comfortable with that one.
I like
Yeah.
the way he played, and I think it was encouraging they put in those kind of minutes. I think on the right-hand side of the defensive pairs, I think he was the best right-hand defenseman. That Radek Bonks kid playing on the left side, I liked him. He moved the puck extremely well. Geeky, their top line, the Savoy line, they're going to get a lot of the accolades. I liked Geeky's game. It's different, though. He's not he's a big kid, and he plays big. And I think that's what the Coyote fans need to look forward to. I don't think he's got the speed, and it's hard to say that he doesn't have skill because the guy puts up great numbers. So he does have skill, but he's not that flashy player. I think he's more of a straight north-south player that can get in, make really nice, can make plays, but he's more about his size. And I think, again, as the games become more important, players like that are going to be very key if Canada's going to go a long way in this tournament. I think Geeky's going to be a huge player for them. And I think you'll see like Celebrini and Savoy maybe take a lesser role, and you'll see Geeky with his size taking a big role.
That's good. That's what I don't know. That's what I want to see.
I think he's an important player. I think they're both important players that can play important minutes for their team.
And that's what you want to see from your
For
prospects.
Sure. Yep.
So we saw Logan Cooley play a big role last year for Team USA. We've seen Dylan Guenther play a big role for Team Canada.
Go all the way back to Strome and Keller, head-to-head captains or wearing letters.
Barrett Hayton had a big role. Like that's what you want to see from your top prospects. Yep. So it's not super easy to watch the CHL here in Arizona. So to get to watch the players right now on NHL Network, it's as good of an opportunity as any. But speaking of prospects, moving out from the World Juniors into just prospect land, we finally have an update on Artyom Duda.
Yeah.
Craig.
He's going to play at, nobody's heard of this
I
university.
didn't know that Ryerson changed its name.
Toronto Metropolitan University.
I did not know that.
2022, I think. I don't like it. I don't like the new name. I liked Ryerson.
Ryerson is like iconic.
Yeah, it is iconic. But anyway, I know people have been wondering ever since the NCAA and its infinite wisdom denied his third and final appeal to play NCAA hockey. People have been wondering. I know a lot of people wondered, why didn't he go to the USHL? Well, there was concern from his camp that was going to be as difficult to manage, to navigate as NCAA hockey with the IAHF. So that's why they didn't go that route. He's not eligible to play in the CHL, so that wasn't a possibility. So if you want to keep him in North America, which his camp really wanted to keep him in North America and far away from Russia, and there's a hell of a lot more to this story that will come out at some point, hopefully from me, you're left with very few options. I guess he could have played I don't think he could have even played in the ECHL at this point because he's still under contract until 2024, the end of 2024. So you go the Canadian University route. The advantage with, I keep wanting to call it Ryerson.
Just
TMU.
call it Ryerson.
I'll just say TMU, okay? First of all, Coyotes development coach, Nathaniel Brooks, was the coach there for, I think, 7 years, assistant. So he knows the place really well, has relationships. He's also situated there. That's where Nathaniel Brooks is based. And Curtis Foster, their defensive development coach, is also there in Peterborough. So he's going to have a lot of eyes on him, a lot of resources available to him. So that's the good part of this. It's definitely a step down from NCAA hockey, but you know what? It's half a season, let him play, and then hopefully you can sign him to an ELC after this. Maybe you get him to Tucson at that point. It's been a really, really tough road for this poor kid who was just trying to play NCAA hockey. I don't need to rehash all the hypocrisy of the NCAA not allowing him to play because he played 14 games in the K. But he's finally settled. He'll get to play. I think it's a dozen games that they have left in the regular season, and then the postseason comes along. Maybe he'll get 20 games in. So he'll get some time under him. If you remember, after the second appeal was denied, he could no longer practice with the University of Maine, which he had been doing up to that point. So the kid's been basically skating on his own for a while, and that's a rough thing, especially for someone who just came over for their first North American experience. So Artyom Duda finally settled. He'll get some games in.
Yeah, I'm concerned. First of all, I think TMU sounds like it should be in the SEC, not in Canadian University system. I mean, we agree on what the Canadian. It's good hockey. I'm not saying these are guys that can't play. It's an older league when you look at the NCAA. When you go to the Canadian universities, they have different rules, so guys can play after their junior career, after they're done playing. Even some pro hockey, she'll get an older sense of players in that league. I'm just not convinced that this is going to be. It's the best option for his development right now. There is no other choice. This is it. This is where he has to play. And as Craig will get to more later, playing in Russia just is not a good option right now. So get him in North America as soon as you can. Let him acclimate to the language, the customs, all of those things are helpful. And Toronto's a great city. Like, it's going to be a great place to physically be. And I think he's got opportunities, like you said, to develop with some of the coaching staff there. And a game is a game. I don't care. He needs to play in a game. He hasn't played in a game now for the entire half a season. He needs to play.
I don't know, and maybe you guys know. I don't know the answer to this question. Like when you're in NCAA hockey, the rules about working with pro staff are.
I was just thinking
kind of weird.
That,
you do that
rules
more when you're in a Canadian.
The rules are much looser.
Daniel Brooks lives in Toronto.
Yeah, exactly.
They're much looser.
So does, again, Curtis Foster, who works with the defensemen. So both of those guys are going to be able to.
Yeah, I think I would think at TMU that they're going to welcome that, and the better he is for them, the better it is for their program. So I would think that they want this kid to get as much ice time as he possibly can get. He's going to get every opportunity to improve in that area. I agree. I just hope that he doesn't set himself back from all the time he's already missed. Mm-hmm. And you can practice all you want to, but if you're not playing games
3 months
as a defenseman, that's hard.
3 months of games
so
missed,
it's not the end all be all of his career. I don't mean that at all. But he's going to have to put in a lot of time, not just in these 12 games, Craig, but over the summer to find out where he's going to fit next year.
You know, the good thing about college, because we talked about this before, there's a lot more development time, right? You can work on your body, but you can also work on specific skill sets. Like everything I've heard about Artyom Duda, and we got a chance to watch him briefly. Unbelievable skater, ridiculously fluid skater, not an issue. Can handle the puck, not an issue. Defensive side of the game, he's got a lot of work to do. From all accounts, he's got a lot of work to do. Maybe this will allow him to zero in on some of those things because he's going to have all that development time.
Yeah, I mean, try to take a positive out of it if you can. I think the bigger issue is going to be make sure he gets those games in, get him on the ice, get him acclimated to North America, and then find a better situation come next fall. And I don't know what that means. I don't know where that is. I don't know how it's going to look by the fall, and I know you'll be the first to know.
But can he play in Tucson next season?
I think so. There's the thing is with
why couldn't he just go there right now?
That's
not, like those
he's
are the
under
things.
contract still with the KHL, so he cannot play right now. But I think it expires in May.
Okay,
and then he becomes eligible to go to the AHL. But some of these rules with international federations, with the Russian Federation, like I know we're going to get to something, and that just shows you how uncertain things are with when you're dealing with other nations and their own rules, their own guidelines. You don't get to decide.
That sucks. Just sucks. Well, speaking of Russia, let's get to it because there was a report that came out on a Match TV. Shumi Babev, I'm not sure how to say it, but I'll credit the person who said it, said, quote, "We have an order from the president according to which young players should stay here in Russia," and followed up to say they're working on rules to not allow players to go abroad before a set amount of time.
Yeah. And who knows how that's going to play out. Again, as we've seen, this situation is fluid. It can change. But when you start thinking about Dmitry Simashev and Daniel, I still don't know yet until I ask him. You worry, right? Both of those guys are signed through 24-25, so through next season. I know there's been some confusion. It's just the rest of the season and next season, then they're no longer under contract. But could they change the rules and say, you need to stay longer? And then what happens?
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
And this could be my ignorance. When he says president, does he mean president of the country? Like this is Putin?
It was unclear. That's the thing. The report
he says the president is the president of the federation.
I thought it was Putin because I wouldn't put anything past him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why
they used to smuggle Russians out of the country in the 80s to play hockey?
That's where I'm going with this.
America?
Because if it's the president of the country mandating that their athletes stay for a particular length of time, one, why? Like, it's you're in war with me. Like, just worry about that. Don't worry about 19-year-old Russian hockey players. That's first. But Secondly, are we going to go back to those days where now it's defecting and trying to smuggle players out? And are North American teams willing to even do that? They did it back then.
Yeah.
Like they were like people smuggled out of the country and running away. And, that's how Russians played back in the day in the NHL. So is the NHL less likely to do that now? I would think they wouldn't want to touch that right now.
I would be concerned
with
about
the world
it too.
climate.
And again, we'll see if this even gets through.
Yeah, it's very vague.
Maybe they'll be within the statute of limitations that they can leave when they're coming
Yeah, who knows
again.
if that'll exist? I mean, who knows how this syncs up with other international rules? Because if you ever want back into IAHF events, you've got to have an exchange. It can't just be you laying down the law on everything. So
and ultimately, I would think Russian hockey players want to play in Olympics. They want to play in the World Junior Tournament. They want to play
in the
at the
NHL.
World. Right. They want to play on the biggest stages in the world.
Yep.
And part of the reason, there's financial remuneration back to Russian federations for when the players come over, that would cease. Like there's so many things. I again, this is today. And day after Christmas 2023, like those two aren't eligible. Boot and Shimashev aren't available to play here for a couple seasons. So there is so much ground to cover between now and then.
Yep.
So many things could change. I will say this is one of the concerns when people were talking about drafting Russian players in last year's draft.
Yep.
It was one of the concerns. What happens if? Well, if the what if comes to fruition and your first two picks are playing in the KHL,
Yep.
Again, long way. And I still anticipate these two players will play in a Coyote jersey at some point. But that was some of the thought process when we were sitting in Nashville going, are they sure they want to draft Russians? I guess we'll see as time goes on.
Yeah.
I know we'll follow it close.
Yep, absolutely, we will. Well, we'll transition to talking about the Coyotes in just a second. But first, we're going to talk about the Phoenix Suns, who currently have a worse winning percentage than the Coyotes.
Just like we predicted?
On December 26th.
How many teams make the playoffs in each conference in the NBA? The answer is 10.
The answer is 10, yeah.
Are the Phoenix Suns in a playoff spot?
They are not.
They are not.
The reason I bring up the Suns is because if you want to watch them, maybe they'll turn it around.
Boy, that was
I'm
a
not
good
really
selling point there,
it,
Leah.
but,
Way to go, Leah.
check out.
Way to go, Arizona family.
Hey, they got to turn it around at some point, or something's going to change, and it'll be of interest.
Get the big three all in there together.
Exactly. So you can check out the Phoenix Suns over at Arizona's Family Sports. Again, they try to turn it all around tomorrow at 6 p.m. against the Rockets. They also play the 29th, the 31st, and the 1st. All of those games over at Arizona's Family Sports. So wherever you live in Arizona, visit azfamily.com and click Suns Games for listing information for your area. AZ Family is a great resource to help you find Phoenix Suns games on Arizona Family Sports. And that's nothing against Arizona Family Sports because they do a great broadcast of the game. It just sucks that the Suns have been struggling.
Yeah, it's not their fault.
Nope.
Exactly.
It's not April Wernicke. The weather is April Wernicke's fault. But Mark McCoon's lovely wife.
Yeah.
But I still wake up with my friends every day, Scotty Passmore, every morning. So you can always do that at Good Morning Arizona. Part of the Arizona Sports, Arizona Family.
Paul said, I stayed up for PHNX Suns post-game last night, and holy shit, that was a heated discussion.
I can't even imagine those guys would be out of their minds right now. Because they're usually pretty calm on that show.
Yeah. The most chill, quiet show
Most
of
chill
all.
show
Yeah.
all time.
Oh boy. All right. Well, the new year is around the corner, and if you're looking to make a change with your bank or open a new bank account, I highly recommend Desert Financial Credit Union, because right now when you open a free checking account online, you get $200 in bonuses. Who doesn't want to start the year off
I'm in.
with a bonus $200? Fresh slate, new bank account, whatever it is. Check out Desert Financial Credit Union. Craig banks there, and if it's good
So
enough
do my
for
children
Craig,
now.
Oh, there
do
you
they?
go.
That's right.
Did they
Oh.
get the $200 bonus, or was
Well,
this?
they get a lot of the perks, when you're in the platinum club. That's
Oh.
what happens. I
If
don't
it's
know.
good enough for
I don't know
Craig,
if you know
it's
about
probably
that
too
yet,
good
but
for you.
baby steps for you. Baby steps.
You can get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200. All right. Well, I mentioned the Coyotes in the playoff spot. We talked plenty about that over the weekend. So we're going to spend some time talking about individual players.
Mhm.
And we must start with JJ Mosier, because he took a hit in Saturday night's game against Colorado, did not return to the game with a upper body injury. Craig, what's the latest?
Well, I think we'll have a definitive update on him tomorrow. I think everybody saw what happened. He took a shoulder to the head, and there's some concern that he could miss these two games before the New Year's break. We have another break coming, which is week is so weird.
It is
I
weird.
don't know how
This
to
week
define-
does not feel real at
Yeah,
all.
it doesn't. It's like I don't know what it is. But anyway, we'll know tomorrow. Again, there is some concern that JJ could miss a couple games. You just never know with these sorts of things. That sort of injury, whether he's going to wake up feeling great.
But one of the things, though, Craig, luckily for this team right now, is they have a couple of defensemen that are healthy scratches, so that they should be able to
Yusuf Valimaki can come back in the lineup. Jeff
Yeah.
Brown obviously is there as well. So
so it won't affect. They're not going to have to call anybody from the Tucson Roadrunners. I don't think so anyway. Their first call was Kolyachonok. He's still out of the lineup now too. So more than likely, unless they bring up Soderstrom, that you would look
at least for this game too. It's a home game, so you probably don't need to do it.
Exactly.
We'll see if they take someone to Anaheim with them. I don't know, but
it depends on how long. But they'll be cautious with him.
Yeah, that hopefully, I'm sure they will be. But
and hopefully it's nothing major and he bounces back quickly. I guess like the one good news is we're not hearing he's out 6 weeks with a broken collarbone or something like that. I mean, head injuries are nothing to be messed with, and you never know. But it's not like it's not bad news, but it's not great news.
I guess like Craig said, I think we're both hoping to be at the ice tomorrow.
I'll be there.
Well, you'll be there. I hope to be there. I don't know. We'll see. It's going to feel like in the morning. But then we'll get a better idea, because they're going to have to skate tomorrow. They haven't skated now for 3 days. And everybody's in that same boat that no one skated for 3 days. So they'll have to go on the ice tomorrow.
I'm trying to remember, like for a game on a game day where the Avalanche has to fly here, will they just practice early, then get on?
They'll fly. They'll skate early in Colorado, fly right to the hotel, pregame meal, nap.
Yeah.
Like they hope to land by 1 o'clock so that they can nap. So you're probably on the ice at 9.
So just a note to all Coyotes fans out there: if you happen to know the route from the airport to their hotel, you might want to create a distraction. Just thinking
that is always the biggest fear of the league on this day. And this is one of the you talk about NBA and NFL both play on Christmas, which we've talked about ad nauseum. But for this league, have 14 games tomorrow. That means 14 teams are traveling tomorrow on day of game. The league frowns upon traveling day of game. They allow you to do it in preseason, but in the regular season, heavily frowned upon, because if there are mechanical issues, weather issues, there are problems. And by the way, I don't know if you look through the Midwest of the country right now.
Winnipeg to Chicago?
There are some serious weather issues in the Midwest right now.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised if something gets delayed. I don't want to say postponed completely, but they could have games that are scheduled for 7 that start at 8. Could happen.
Can you imagine if that happened to us, how mad we'd be? If we had a game scheduled at 7 and then it got delayed till 8?
For us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know how mad we would be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine for a player doing it?
Yeah.
Probably more.
I'm only thinking about us sitting in our relaxing chairs talking about the game.
I'd go home.
So the equipment flies wet then?
Yes.
The equipment flies
wet. They get it in the locker room. They'll hang it. They'll hang it. They'll wash.
Smells so good.
They'll wash the underwear, and they'll wash they'll hang it, and that room will be about 110 degrees. They'll pump in the heat and the fans, and it'll be ready by game time.
It's wild. Wow.
Yep. But they'll hang wet.
Well, not an issue the Coyotes have to face because they get to be home, like we mentioned. But we thought, with the Christmas, there's the Thanksgiving cutoff, there's kind of the Christmas cutoff, and then there's the All-Star break cutoff, even though they're in quick succession. But we thought we would take a look at a number of different Coyotes players at the Christmas break this year versus last year and kind of compare their progress. Have they improved? Have they slid? So shout out Petey for doing a lot of the
math work,
the math on this one. And let's start with Clayton Keller, because we've been tracking him as the season's gone along. Obviously, Clayton Keller tied Keith Tkachuk's single season points record for Coyotes last season. So last season, through 32 games at the Christmas break, Keller had 12 goals, 19 assists for 31 points. At 33 games at the Christmas break, so one more game than this point last year, he has 12 goals, 18 assists, and 30 points. So pretty much on pace. I mean, just 1 point off at this rate, but almost identical stat lines. I mean, 12 goals and then just 1 assist different.
Did we think, though, like, again, right now, does it feel like Keller's on a record-setting pace to you? Because it doesn't to me.
Not.
I mean, he's chipping in points here and there, and you go, oh, yeah, he's having another good season. He's leading the team in points, and you go, oh, okay. And then you look at that stat, and you go, oh, my goodness. He's
right there. He's
right there from where he was a year ago when he ties Keith Tkachuk's record. That's amazing. And that shows the consistency that I was saying he needed to show when I was talking about him this summer. I said, do it again. And he is. He's telling me that he could do it again.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Well, we'll take a look at the next guy. Let's go with Matias Maccelli, who obviously had a I think, a Calder quality season last season, but the voters thought Stuart Skinner
was pretty good.
At least top 3.
Oh
Skinner doing this
boy!
year?
So through 30 games last season in his 4th place Calder voting season, Matias Maccelli had 3 goals, 19 assists for 22 points. Right now, through 33 games at the Christmas break, Maccelli has 6 goals, 18 assists for 24 points. So he's actually improved, and the difference, he has 3 more goals.
Because he's passing to the mesh.
Passing to the mesh.
Yep.
So, again, similar pace. It's really interesting to do this kind of experiment and compare to where they were this time last year. But even though it's just 3 goals, I mean, that's for Matias Maccelli. That was kind of his focus, and I think that's pretty significant.
Petey, did you do the same thing for Stuart Skinner?
No, it wasn't as good. It wasn't as good. And I think one thing with Matias Maccelli's assist, you got to have your line mates have to score. And luckily for him, Lawson Crouse has been able to put up good numbers too. So I think that's what allowing Matias Maccelli to have a really good, that's 2 seasons of really, really good numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's look at Lawson Crouse next, because and what was really interesting to me here is just how many goals Lawson Crouse scores. I don't think I realized this about him. So last season, Crouse through 31 games at Christmas had 13 goals, 3 assists for 16 points. Through 32 this season, he has 14 goals, 6 assists for 20 points. So he has more assists. He's 4 points ahead of where he was last year.
Dad was giving him crap about the assists.
Oh, there it is.
Yep.
So he's improved on that, but still he was quiet in the first month of the season in October, completely took off in November, and now he's outpacing himself, not just in points, but this is sort of minor, but it kind of points to how well that second line's been playing. He was a -2 at this point last year. He's currently a +4. That line has been really consistent for the Coyotes. So interesting comparison.
Yeah, and you look at Matt Orozco. Isn't Jesse Orozco? Isn't he a pitcher?
He was?
Yeah, but I don't think it's spelled the same. But anyway,
It's all right.
Matt, that's to his point. This line, I think, is the line that Andre feels the most secure at any point in the game that he can throw it behind, ahead, defense, offensive zone, faceoffs. And I do think this is their most stable and safe line. And I think that Crouse has been a big part of that.
Yeah, no question.
So it's cool to see the numbers right in
Yeah.
front of your eyes.
Yeah.
We've also been talking up Alex Kerfoot a lot. So let's take a look at his stats, because he played with Toronto, obviously, at this time.
Who did all
last
this
year.
work with the pictures?
Me.
Wow. That's a lot of work.
Through 34 games at Christmas last season, Kerfoot had 4 goals, 11 assists, and 15 points. It was a +8, which I think is interesting.
And about his team.
Yeah. This point, 33 games, 4 goals, 17 assists for 21 points. So 6 more assists, 6 more points at this point this season. Again, he gets power play time. He's on the top line lately, but just goes to show he's in a good opportunity, I think.
I didn't watch him last season with
Yeah.
Toronto, so I can't speak to
I think
what the criticisms were, but
I think last year he had a hard time finding a place where he fit in. And here he fits in everywhere. There, he was a jack of all trades, but they didn't need that last year. I think was the issue that had him with Matthews at times. But that's not a great fit with Matthews. I think he fits better on this roster than they did in Toronto. I think they're so geared to speed and skill and go, and play fast and get the puck up the ice through the neutral zone quickly. He skates well, but he's a north-south player that can dig it in the corners, and he does more here for this team than he could do at Toronto. I don't know if Toronto ever had the perfect fit for Kerfoot.
man, he fits well here.
It's great.
Just been so good.
He's
for
got to
so
be
long.
happy here, doesn't he?
I would guess so. He's
We need to
revived his
ask him.
career, right? Especially after all the criticism that you take in Toronto, you just get beat up.
Yeah, I
That's
would
coming.
think so.
Well,
Let's ask him.
That's one of the stories that I'm planning on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
All right, next guy. Let's do Nick Schmaltz next, because he's a guy, if you just pull up his numbers, didn't even play 33 games at this point last year. He'd only played 17, given the fact that he started the season with injury. So at the Christmas break, through 17 games, Nick Schmaltz had 6 goals, 8 assists, and 14 points. Now through 33, so almost double the amount of games, he has 10 goals, 12 assists for 22 points. So maybe his point output isn't quite matching double, if you doubled his production from this point last season, but I know he's playing through something, but he hasn't missed games, and that's not something you could say about Nick Schmaltz of the past.
Yeah, the positive on this is that he has played. And this is the first season in a while that Nick Schmaltz has been in the lineup consistently every night. The concern is his scoreless drought that went for so long. I mean, that's a long drought for him, and he hasn't had that in a long time in his career, and that's a concern. And the other one for me is the -9. He's -9 versus even last year through this point in time.
But the top line has been minus because you
Yeah.
even look at Keller, he was
This line has to start, and I'll tell you, I pointed it out the other day on one of my big rants, is they're turning the puck over in the offensive zone.
Yep.
Because they're trying to be too creative because they can't get to the inside to the net. So they're trying to play on the perimeter. When you play like that, you turn the puck over, and they turn the puck over.
Yep.
They give up odd man rushes going back the other way. So I think it all snowballs. And you know who I'm going to blame? Barrett Hayton.
for being injured.
Yep.
You're gonna blame him
I think
for
that
being injured?
I think the loss of Barrett Hayton contributes to both
Yeah,
of
like
those
the,
factors.
Watts literally just said it as you Keller Schmaltz need Hayton back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's huge. It's not just the points, and I think Keller Hayton helps with the points, but he does help with the fewer turnovers and the help defending. So that loss with Barrett Hayton on that line is massive.
We also know that Nick Schmaltz was playing through a minor injury. When you're a coach, like, how do you? I know it plays in the room, right? You get respect for that sort of thing. You get it from the coaches too. Let's be honest. How do you balance that with, okay, are we asking him to do too much? Should he be out of the lineup right now? How do you balance that?
I think it's interesting that you bring that up because I think that the philosophy on that has changed over the years. I think when you go back 10 years ago, you play. If you can physically put your skates on, get out there. And I think that was kind of the mentality. I think now with arbitration and money, and I think agents, and I don't want to throw all agents into this category, but they're more apt to tell their player to wait until he's completely healthy because it affects your stats. Stats affect your arbitration, which affects your money. I think it plays well to your teammates. I think it's a necessity that you play when you're hurt to your teammates. For a coach, I do think, I don't want to say you get a free pass, but there's an understanding of when you're doing your tallying of your stats at the end of the night, when you're doing your chances for and against, there's an asterisk. Hey, but he's not 100%. And I think that coaches understand that.
Okay.
And they do give him, you'd rather have an injured Schmaltz out there giving you something than another player getting called up from Tucson giving you more at that role. However, we talked about this with Shane Doan when he was in the playoffs against the Detroit Red Wings, and he thought he could go in that last game against Detroit, and the coaching staff said, we don't want the risk of you being injured and losing you and playing with a short bench.
The doctors and the coaching staff, we're both saying,
Yeah, so it's a little different come playoff time that you want
playoffs. You read what people play through at the end of the
exactly. So I think the mentality
he broke
different.
his finger and played, and he tore his shoulder and played. It's crazy.
Yes, and I do want to make sure that this point is clear too, because I know we've had Jason Service on this show in the medical community. The team is not going to put a player on the ice if there's a risk of him either long-term damage or making himself worse. That doesn't mean that they're not putting him out there to play through pain. That is different. And they have management for pain and makes things different. But they're not putting a player out there that can make himself worse and putting him in a dangerous situation to jeopardize his career. They're not. I just wanted to clarify that.
There you go. All right, couple more players to look at. We'll go next to Michael Carcone, and we're actually going to compare his stats to being in the AHL.
Yeah, not even in the national. At this point last season, he did not play one NHL game by Christmas.
Unreal.
He ended up playing, 13 games, I think, last year? Or he played a handful
last season, through 27 games in the American Hockey League at Christmas, Michael Carcone, who, just to remind everyone, won the AHL scoring title, 16 goals, 26 assists, 42 points, +1. Don't know if you
42
I don't know
points.
if that's good or not, but
42 points, a point and a half a game.
Seems pretty good to me. And now in the NHL, through 32 games at Christmas, he has 14 goals, 5 assists, and 19 points. And I know you could look at the point comparison and say that's half of what he had at this point last year. But this is the NHL, and he's +6.
And at Tucson, first power play, first guy over the board, started every period, every offensive zone faceoff. In the NHL, he's playing 8 to 12 minutes.
He's like playing fourth line minutes.
Most productive player.
Got on the power
NHL.
play. Snuck on the power play the other night.
Yeah,
and they scored a goal.
Oh, did they get a goal?
They did.
With him on the power play?
Yep.
Somebody said that he should probably play some power play minutes. So you look at those numbers. He's within 2 goals of where he was when he was on a pace to lead the league in scoring, playing half of the time. That's impressive.
Yep.
This kid, for me right now, he is by far the most surprising player of this Coyotes roster so far to this point. I think Kerfoot has been one that Kerfoot's a veteran player. Kerfoot's done some good things. Carcone, we really didn't know what to expect coming into this. This has been I'm absolutely thrilled at what he's done so far.
I have a really fun story, and I'm not going to say anything more about it. Leah knows already about Michael Carcone.
Yes, it's going to be really good. Really good.
It's going to be really good. It's going to be really
That's
good.
the hint. That's the hint.
It was terrible, wasn't it?
No,
Okay.
that was bad, but I think I got the hint.
Okay, one more player to look at, and I know, Craig, there's more analytics stats that are on this page, but we're going to look at Sean Durzi, his time in LA at this point versus with Arizona. 34 games played at this point last season with LA. At Christmas, 4 goals, 16 assists, 20 points, -7 through 27 games. Of course, Durzi sat out a few with an injury. 5 goals, 11 assists, 16 points, +8. So, I mean, even just the plus minus alone, that's significant. He's still pacing ahead, I think, of where he was last season. And that was, speaking of situations and opportunities, that's one of the advantages Durzi had coming over to Arizona from LA.
Is he better away from the puck than you thought?
Yes. And to the point where I thought he was going to be a huge, I've heard this from people that had watched him play in LA last year. Really going to like him when he has a puck, and you're going to really dislike him when he doesn't. Can't defend, doesn't read the play well, can't read the rush well. I haven't seen that. And to Leah's point, the surprising stat here, he makes his power play better when he's in.
Yeah, no
and
question.
the games
We
he was
saw
gone.
that.
Yeah, it was blatantly obvious when he was out of the lineup that he really drives this power play. So that's really important. He had more numbers last year with the team that scored more goals. They were better offensively. He still had a similar role offensively last year, but he wasn't getting the big defensive minutes, and he was still a minus player there. He's playing some pretty important minutes here with the Coyotes. Like, he's over the boards first, playing against some of the really, really good players in this league, and he's still a plus player. Defends much better than I thought he did. And I think it's his skating that allows him to do that. He can close gaps quickly in the neutral zone, and I think he can get on pucks quickly in the defensive zone, but much better than I was expecting. I think, again, we talked about surprising players and we talked about Carcone. Durzi, the expectations were very high offensively, very high. And I think he's met those, but I think he's much, much better defensively than any of us expected he would be, including the staff of the Coyotes. I don't think they expected him to defend like this.
It's exciting.
It is.
It's good. It's good. Well, we will see how everybody progresses over the next segment of the season. You know, we're 33 games at this point, just over a third of the way to 82. And the Coyotes have a huge opportunity here because they play, I think, 6 of their next 7 games at Mullet Arena. So, Danielle, can we take a look at the upcoming schedule, which doesn't even fully paint the whole picture because you can't even see it all. But obviously, Colorado tomorrow night.
Not easy competition, right?
No, one quick game on the road in Anaheim, and then they come home and play Florida. And this is the Florida kicks off this long homestand because then they play Florida, the Islanders, and then that's all you can see. But there's so many more games.
They play
there you go.
the Winnipeg Jets. They play the Boston Bruins. They play Calgary Flames, which could be a big game in the wild card race. So it's an important homestand for them. And then you start looking down the back half of the schedule. Whoa, they got more road games than home games left. So
yeah, unlike last year, where
this is the time to make hay. You got to make hay here.
You got to win these games, and here's some of the issues. There's some good teams coming here. Colorado's a really good team. I think the Islanders,
Florida.
That's a winnable game. Florida plays so fast too. Florida can be a concern, but then you look at Boston and Winnipeg and Calgary. They beat Boston at home a year ago, but Calgary and Winnipeg, those are teams, in my estimation, you've got to beat Winnipeg once this year.
Yeah.
They're in the Central Division.
So good.
They're playing so well right now. You have to find a way. You've lost to them twice now. You need to beat Winnipeg. Yeah. I think on that upcoming schedule, to me, that's the one I'd have circled going, we have to win this hockey game.
Can we move the Islanders game up to 7 a.m.? Because I'm certain watching the Islanders, I might fall asleep.
What time is it?
Fall asleep. They're so
it's
boring.
They're
such a boring team
defensive.
To watch.
Yeah,
they're such a boring.
We're gonna see
team
John
to watch.
McLean though, former Coyote assistant coach John McLean. So I'll look forward to that. This is a tough schedule. They have to. Craig said it. Start the year. They have to have a similar home record to what they did last year, and they have to be better on the road. And so far, they've been able to do that. This is where we're really going to find out if they still have that mullet magic. They have to have a winning record in this home stretch because it's going to be much harder at the end of the season than it was last season when they were home for almost all of their games coming in February and March. And this is going to be much different. So I think you've got to look at them getting 4 out of every 6 at home all the way through the rest of the season.
Yeah.
They have to.
But you look at that last homestand with all the former Stanley Cup winners, and they really capitalized on it.
Yep.
So they have to do the same with this upcoming.
And the key is going to be the goaltending, which has been surprisingly good and steady, which is 2 different guys.
Yeah.
So that needs to continue. And can you imagine what this team will be like if both of those goalies get hot at the same time?
Like at the start of the year,
right?
When they were playing well, yeah.
So I think if Vejmelka can stay like this, Ingram will get his game back, and then playoffs at this time, there's still a possibility.
I don't even want to say Connor Ingram's off his game necessarily, but he's not hot right now.
He's not having
he's
that.
Fine right
and
now.
Even then, you look at that last game, and that's the game where that defensive breakdowns were just horrific, and you're like, what is this team doing? So they need to play better in front of him. That's my key for the game tomorrow. They have to defend Colorado better, or they're going to get blown out.
Yeah, because that game on Saturday was not enjoyable to watch.
No.
All right. Well, if you believe in mullet magic, maybe we'll bet on the Coyotes over at BetMGM, or you can bet on goalie saves. You can bet on Nathan MacKinnon to get a point at this point. Like, just ride that wave. Who knows? So many different things you can bet on over at BetMGM, including betting on the World Juniors, football, basketball, whatever it is you want to bet on. Right now, when you sign up for BetMGM and use the bonus code PHNX, you can place your first BetMGM Sportsbook wager through the BetMGM Sportsbook mobile application of at least $10. And if that bet loses, your bonus bet will be available once your initial wager is settled. Check out the show notes for full details. And now listen to Shane talk about the disclaimer.
Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., New York, or Ontario.
Lots of home games coming up, as I mentioned. So many opportunities to see the Coyotes at home against some, interesting teams coming to town. And if you want to check out those games, get your tickets at Game Time. Best prices guaranteed. You can check out what your view would be. You can buy the tickets the day of the game, which is when they're the cheapest. PD has used it. I've used it. I'm pretty sure Craig has used it. We've all used Game Time before, not just for sporting events, but for concerts as well. So as we head into the new year, take a look at the calendar, mark your favorites on Game Time and check it out. And if you haven't downloaded the Game Time app yet, do it now, create an account, and when you use code PHNX, you'll get $20 off your first purchase. So great deal. Again, terms apply. Create an account and redeem code PHNX on Game Time for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, we're going to transition to talk a little bit about ASU hockey because, again, we're kind of looking ahead at half two, especially for college. Right now, Arizona State 11-3-4, ranked 13th with 364 points in the rankings.
Mm-hmm.
Craig, they're heading to a cool tournament.
Yeah.
The Adirondack tournament, which just makes you think of the chair, but that's
right. But it's Lake Placid, and that's, of course,
pretty
site of
iconic.
the Miracle on Ice, exactly. Herb Brooks Arena. They're going to take part. You look at where they are right now. They're 16 in pairwise, and the top 16 teams go to the NCAA tournament. But because they're not in a conference, they're susceptible. If some other team that's lower in the pairwise makes a run in a conference tournament, they can bounce ASU out. Greg Powers has told us you need to be like probably at 13 to feel comfortable. If there are 3 upsets or something that occur in a postseason tournament. So this is their chance, really. When you look at the quality of the competition that they're going to face, not just in this tournament, but then when they come back home to host the Desert Hockey Classic, these 2 tournaments are really important to ASU's postseason hopes. They're going to play Clarkson, which I believe is 28 right now in the pairwise. The other 2 teams in this tournament are UMass Amherst and Cornell. These are 2 very good teams. They got lucky, to be honest, in that draw, not to have to face both of those teams. So they have a really good chance to get to the championship game. If you can somehow win this tournament and get credit for 2 road wins, that means a lot. That means a lot in the pairwise. You get extra points for winning on the road.
Too,
against very good teams. And then you come home and you've got UMass Lowell, Omaha, and Harvard in the Desert Hockey Classic. So really good chance here for ASU. I'm not saying they have to win all 4 games, but if you get a split at Adirondack and then win your own tournament, that's going to really help the Sun Devils down the stretch, because when you start looking at the tail end of their schedule, there's not a lot of quality teams. And this is what happens, too, when you're not in a conference. They're all playing each other now. There's no time for these out-of-conference tournaments, so you have to schedule independents, and there's just not a lot of them out there, and most of them aren't doing that well. Alaska is, but not a lot of them are doing well. So after these 2 tournaments, there's like maybe 4 really tough games left on their schedule the rest of the way. Time to make hay if they want to get in the tournament. They put themselves in a decent position. They could have won a couple more games in regulation. They could have not blown the game at Miami, Ohio when they had a 4-1 lead in the third period. But those things happen over the course of a season. They're in okay position right now, but they've got work to do.
Yeah, it's interesting because this is the last year they're going to be without a conference. So this is, I think it's imperative that they make the national tournament this year because I think it's going to be very difficult in their first year in a new conference. I think it's going to be hard for them to make the NCAA tournament next season. So I think it's important to get there this year. And so to your point, they have to win games like this. They have to get a win there, and then they're going to have to come home. Do they have to play Harvard like in the college bowl, like where they put the guys up and they have to do quiz questions before? I don't know if I like ASU's
You ever been to a Harvard
there.
game? You ever been to one of those games, like a Harvard-Yale game? They're unbelievable. The crowd is amazing.
It's interesting because they're a little bit smaller and more. It's a tighter arena than you see at Mullet. It's different.
Yeah,
it's different.
It's a fun atmosphere though.
But so I think it is important, and I think ASU can make this tournament, but they cannot lose games that they're supposed to win. That's it. Just win the games you're supposed to from here on out, and I think they'll be fine.
I also just want to mention, because I said ASU was 13th, you said 16th. The 13th I was looking at was the US.
Yeah, the rankings. Yeah, the rankings are different than pairwise. So
yeah, exactly. And also right now, TJ Septenfelter is tied for second in the NCAA for winning percentage. So with the goalies of Michigan State and Wisconsin, only Jacob Fowler of Boston College, who's the best team in college right now, is ahead. So pretty cool statistic to see there. All right, well, it's time to talk about post-Christmas
and we'll do it quick. This will be
protocol.
Quick. We'll do quick Christmas.
I think you guys disagree, though.
I think we do here.
And
on lights?
I'll mediate.
Well, here's my stance on lights. They stay up through New Year. New
I
Year's
don't have a problem
Day,
with
Lights or decor?
everything. I'm not doing piecemeal. I go out there one day, I'm putting it up. One day, I'm taking it down. So everything will be on, and the lights will be on New Year's Day and New Year's Day night. That's the last day. Then they come down the next day, or at least they're off.
On the 31st of December, that night they can be on. The morning of January 1st, like if you drove by your house at 3 o'clock in the morning and the clock is turned over now, it's January 1st, they're off?
No, they're still on. So January 1st is a holiday.
The morning of January 1st.
Even the night of January 1st,
So when
I'm
dusk comes and your timer goes off, that's it. I get
January 2nd. The morning of January 2nd.
On January
they can no longer
2nd?
be it.
He's saying the
January
night of
1st
January.
is a holiday.
First of all, you're wrong on all of it.
Here we go.
I don't have a problem with someone in my neighborhood keeping them on until the 1st. I will go, okay, you get a mulligan till then. I do give the mulligan. The night of the 1st, man, that's tough for me because the New Year's was the fun day. That's me. My decorations normally, Christmas Day, we have lunch. Start right away.
No way.
As soon as lunch is over on Christmas Day, the 25th.
No way.
Inside the house is done, packed before dinner. Done. On
No
Christmas
way.
Day, tree down, decoration down. There is not a decoration in my house right now inside saying anything Christmas. Not
You
one.
take it down on Christmas Day.
No
Done.
way.
It's what day is it? It's 26th. It's over. Done. Everything inside is out.
I'm shook.
I wanted to get up this morning.
You're wrong.
I wanted to get up this morning and take care of the outside, but I was told that my son is bringing his friend over for dinner tonight, and we have to have the lights on the outside, but there is nothing on the inside. Done.
So your wife informed you that there's this thing in life called joy.
So when my
I
son and his
introduced him as
friend
the
pull
Grinch,
up,
and I was right.
when they pull up, that they will see the lights. But I guarantee this. I guarantee it. When they leave after dinner tonight, there is a chance I go out tonight. Probably not, but at 6 a.m. tomorrow,
with the World Juniors on in the background.
Absolutely guarantee I will be out in my front yard pulling down every last thing.
What time did you remove your Christmas tree from your house on Christmas
Well,
Day?
see, this is an unusual year because of other family circumstances. We actually didn't have a tree this year, but normally,
Would it be down by now?
but 1,000%.
Do you have a fake tree?
Yeah, we have a fake tree, and it would absolutely 100% be down by dinner on the 25th, because the 25th we do a late, like a 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, really good meal, and that thing's done. Before we go to bed on 25th on Christmas, the tree is done.
No.
Every
That's
decoration
wrong.
is done.
That's
Before
wrong.
bed on the 25th. You wake up and it's over. It's 26, I'm done.
Then do it on the 26th.
No, I don't, because it's not Christmas.
Go ahead, moderator.
So I disagree with you because I think Christmas needs to go until the end of the day. Like last night, I was sitting there, I had my tree lights on, I was watching the Suns early on. I had a cup of tea, and it was just so peaceful. It's Christmas.
Huh.
It's still Christmas at 8 p.m. on Christmas
But
Day.
your festivities are done. Once our meal is done, our Christmas meal is done, the
Who
Christmas
says a festivity
festivities are
couldn't
over.
be me sitting on my couch drinking tea watching the Suns?
I'm just so
With my
blessed.
kids, which is what we were doing.
Yes.
We stayed up till midnight.
My wife
I
agrees
sat
with
with my cat.
Thank goodness.
Squeezed out every minute of Christmas.
My wife would be the first one to take the ornament off the tree too.
But-
She goes, this time.
But listen.
This time. I swear. We're on the same
I
wavelength.
I do support Craig of the second, and I see a lot of comments in the chat about the 12 days of Christmas on January 6th in certain religions. I'm totally fine with that too, in like the religious context. But for my own personal, I agree with you. January 2nd, down.
Take 'em
Goodbye. I was saying to I'm the same way as a lot of people in the chat where like as soon as Christmas is over, it's done in my mind. Like I get that.
Sure.
However, like we're having people over for New Year's this weekend.
So you want to have some
And my
decorations
roommate
up.
said I want a tree to
Decorations.
still be up. Like we'll probably take down a lot of
It's
the
a Christmas
Christmassy
tree.
stuff.
It's not a New Year's tree.
Yeah, but
And the name
tree.
defines it as a
It's-
Christmas
but it's a
tree.
tree with lights.
Right.
Doesn't
Take the
have
star
to be.
off then.
The star is kind of New Year's vibes. Stars. I don't
No.
know. Anyway.
In our
just
house,
wait a
it's like a tree with a terminal illness. We watch it slowly die.
Oh yeah, mine.
you have a real
Mine.
tree?
Like
Oh, yeah.
if
You
you
both
year.
have real
I don't
trees?
have a
if
choice.
you touch it right now, like
Yeah.
1,000
And you both have cats.
pines.
with
My
real
cat.
trees.
My cat doesn't go near it.
Same. No
Really?
interest.
Yeah.
None.
My cat was all my
Well,
cats
growing
love
up,
my
my
trees.
cats would go in the tree.
Yeah, well, we can agree to disagree, but is anyone surprised that that's the vibe at my house?
No.
No one's surprised.
No, both of these fit you guys perfectly.
But
And
it's truly about my anxiety. I walked around the streets and go, why does everybody have their goddamn lights up? Like it's over.
No.
Christmas in my mind is
But
over.
in-
So I have anxiety.
It's a
when-
holiday
no.
season.
I
December,
have anxiety.
December, and this week we all have already agreed
Still
that it doesn't
holiday
exist.
season. Yep.
We already agreed that this week
Yep.
doesn't exist. It means nothing.
That's fair.
So you can leave your lights up. But if I see you have 1 week after the new
Okay.
year because maybe people go back to work right away. They didn't have time. That next
I do need
weekend,
to factor in work.
If the
that
lights are
next
still on,
weekend,
yeah.
you're done.
See, and that's Tara. Like if Tara had her choice, we'd go to like the end of January.
My
with the
my
lights.
neighbors,
Crazy.
my next door neighbors, the very next door neighbors, right out of my window, I can see their house. They left the Christmas tree up literally year round last year.
That's
It
insane.
was up all year.
I think Cheryl
That's-
said
Oh,
that
yeah,
they
with the
had
lights on.
they had it up till March when she was in college. Crazy. During COVID, when people started putting up their Christmas trees just to bring themselves joy during COVID, that was a thing.
It's not a bad idea.
Anywho, enough
I
arguing.
think rules during COVID were different.
I
too.
agree. Enough arguing. Let's talk about
I don't
something.
think we're arguing. It's just we have
Enough
different thoughts.
heatedness. Let's talk about something we all agree on, which is our love of animals.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yes.
I'm going to throw it to Craig
That's
to
true.
introduce what we're going to talk about.
Well, I've already talked to people a lot about Heidi's Village. I think you know that I do work there with Greg Dunaway, who's been a Coyotes fan and a friend for a long time. Greg and I got out to Heidi's Village just before Christmas to record some videos of some animals in need. We tend to focus on the dogs. They do have cats as well.
That's where
a lot-
Sean got baby.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, it is. But we focused on a bunch of dogs, and I released a couple of those videos on the website. We're going to play those for you. Unfortunately, both of the dogs that we're going to show you today were victims of car accidents. Actually, they got hit by cars and they lost legs. But as you guys know, the amazing thing about dogs, like you'd never know it. They're not complaining about it. They're happy. They're running around. They've adapted. Dogs just adapt to whatever situation they're in, and they're happy. It's
Mhm.
unbelievable. So, as I've said to you a million times before, please consider adopting from Heidi's Village. It's an amazing place where animals are treated humanely. You can't believe the facilities there, what they can do. They walk them every day. They have enrichment activities. The dogs do paw paintings. Whoops.
Whoa.
Better turn that off. There's a splash pad.
Yeah.
Heidi's Village is amazing. And what that means for the dogs is that they're healthier mentally and physically because they're being treated this way instead of in an awful situation or trying to fend for themselves on the street. But you can help out in a lot of ways. You can foster animals if you're not sure or you want to help out while an animal is maybe waiting to make its way somewhere else. You can donate your time. You can donate money or goods. There's a lot of ways you can help Heidi's Village. But if you're looking to get a dog, it's an unbelievable place to go. And we're going to show you a couple of them today.
Yeah, so I think without further ado, Danielle, let's take a look at the first dog.
All right, we're here at Heidi's Village with Paula and Cake Pop, a 3-year-old Staffy mix who loves treats. What else can you tell me about Cake Pop, Paula?
So Cake Pop was surrendered to Arizona Humane Society through an emergency clinic after being struck by a car, which left her with a leg amputation and a tooth extraction. So she's missing a leg and she's missing a tooth. She's incredibly sweet, very, very food motivated.
Yeah, lots of energy on this one. A very, very happy dog, as you can see with the tail going nonstop.
My favorite thing about dogs is like that dog had 3 legs and it was just so happy.
Yep.
Cake Pop.
Cake Pop.
What a great name for a dog.
I know,
though.
right?
Cake Pop?
There's a dog there named Costco as well.
That's
which we'll feature
amazing.
later. They call the shopping queen. But we have another dog, right?
Yes.
We have another video here. So we're just
So let's take a look at the next one.
Okay, I am here with Paula at Heidi's Village, and this is Raven, a 3-year-old Doberman. Paula, what can you tell me about Raven?
Yeah, Raven was brought in as a stray from Arizona Humane Society. She was unfortunately hit by a car, and a Good Samaritan brought her in, and she needed to get her leg amputated from that. Raven is very dog friendly. She is incredibly sweet. She loves everybody she meets. She loves playing with other dogs. She's very puppy behavior. She loves to run and loves to play with a bunch of different toys.
She seems to have adapted completely to having 3 legs instead of 4.
Oh yeah, definitely does not slow her down at all.
No, she's a very happy dog.
What a beautiful dog. Wow.
so many there. Again, please.
Yeah.
This, you know how I
Help.
feel about
Just
this.
help.
Just help.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about getting a dog, go to Heidi's Village. Go to Heidi's Village.
Absolutely. Support them, and thanks for all the work
support them,
you do,
and they
Craig.
support
It's great.
shelters as I've written about in the past. They support shelters all over the state. A lot of shelters will bring their dogs to Heidi's Village when they have space, and I'm happy to say right now they do have space, which is good, right? You don't like to see a place overflowing, but you don't like to see any dog that's just waiting for a home. So consider giving them a home.
There you go.
It's great. That's
Great
great
work.
stuff, Craig.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we wrap up today, as always, I want to remind everybody, if you are not a member of the Circle K Inner Circle yet, now is the time. Make it your New Year's resolution to join the Inner Circle. So many perks, 25 cents saved per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. Once you join the Inner Circle, you can save 3 cents per gallon every day. After that, they also have so many giveaways every single day, 31 days of Circle K in this Inner Circle app, free prizes, free drinks, free chips, whatever it may be. So many perks. So join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. And last but not least, if you have yet to check out Gila River Resorts and Casinos, great. If you're off work this week, take a staycation, check out one of the casinos. Not if you're not into gambling, they have amazing restaurants there as well. They have the sports book, just a great venue, great food, great vibes. So swing by. I've been to Wild Horse Pass. It's phenomenal, especially if you live in the East Valley. It's not super far from you. So again, check out Gila River Resorts and Casinos. And as they and we always like to say, you do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details. Anything else before we get out of here?
No, I'm just excited with tuning in tomorrow. World Junior Hockey tomorrow. The Americans are off. Canada does play tomorrow.
Who's Canada play tomorrow? Remember?
I don't. I think it was Latvia.
Okay.
I think it's Latvia, Canada tomorrow. So it should be a pretty
walk in
won't
the
be as
park,
fun to watch. But keep an eye on Geeky at Mavlam, and then the rematch, Coyotes Colorado.
Yep.
And let's see
right
if that
back
goes
into
better.
it.
Yeah, let's see if that goes a little better. And we'll be here at the post game show in the studio. And
Will we see the mullet
Will
magician?
we see the mullet magician? And hope he had a good holiday. We need
A lot
to
of
ask him.
opportunities for the mullet
He
magician.
has
There are
some
a
good
lot
new material. I saw him practicing.
Yep, there's some good, but I was not aware, and I should probably give him a call that there are 6 home games. That I don't think.
Can you do me a favor and ask him maybe not to hang out in the parking garage?
It's kind of creepy.
Yeah, I heard he was creeping out some people. Yeah,
kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of creepy.
Oh boy. All right. Well, we appreciate you all for hanging with us, whether you were avoiding working on the 26th or you were off today. We sincerely appreciate it. So if you're watching this on YouTube live or later, hit the thumbs up button. It helps us out immensely. And if you're listening on audio, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe. If you're traveling a lot this holiday season, in this stretch, you can listen to us on audio. We're always there to chat with you through your travels or whatever it is you're doing. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at @SPetersHockey, at Leah Merrill, at Craig S. Morgan, at Abracadanielle, and you can follow the show at PHNX_Coyotes. Thank you so much, everybody. We appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and we will see you all tomorrow night.
We all silly like the mayor.